Hello and welcome. I'm Bill Wake. We're working on a basic interpreter written in Swift, and we've been working on quite a bit of the language so far. We've done all the expressions, which was a pretty substantial part, and a number of control structures. We've added a capability that some of the later basics added to let you have multiple statements on one line, though. And so that changes things for go sub and for next in particular, because they're used to, well, in the old style, they could always know they're going to return to some new line, the next line number. Okay, so go sub, you're on line 50 and you call go sub 200 and you come back, it's going to go to the line after 50 and pick up from there. But if it's in the middle of the line, that creates issues. So we dealt with go sub. We haven't dealt with for next, so let's do that. All right, so here's a couple examples. So line 10, for I equals 1 to 2, print I, next I. Well, the next I is supposed to bounce back to the print and, increment the variable and bounce back to the print. But, if it was expecting that to be on a separate line, it wouldn't find it. Then in the second example, we split the for and the next, but the next is not the first thing on the line. And so we have a mechanism that searches for the matching next statement, but it only is looking at the front of the line. Okay, so it only looks at the first sub statement in the line. All right, we have those two tests failing right now. So the other four statements, the normal ones, well, let's find one that's legit. Okay, so for x equals 2 to 2, print 999. We demonstrate that we have the final value 2 at the end of the loop. Okay, normal for loops. Here's 1, 3 to 1, step minus 1. So we've verified regular for loops a lot. Hey Rick, nice to see you. So it's these ones that deal with the multiple lines that are giving us the trouble. All right. So my proposal is I want to comment these tests out or ignore them. My cheap ignoring with an X. Okay. And with that, the test should all run. And I want to focus on how we're managing the for loop. So the way we do it now is there's a stack of for loop info. The string is the variable name, which should be variable. Okay, let's fix that. And then the step size and the limit, I think, or maybe the limit and the step size, and then the line number of the statement you're jumping back to. Well, line numbers are single integers. We really need to change this to be a location, all right, which a location has both the line number and the part, which substatement it's on, okay, and tracks that. All right, so let's for next on same line. I guess, well, I can make sure we're doing it clean here. All right. I don't know why it's still got the diamond on there. Okay, but anyway, no failures other than those two we know fail. So this location, I would like this to be a location. So let's make that happen. But then also, I noticed this, we set up a little type for variable, I believe, probably in parse. Oh, name. Okay. Let's use that since these do represent names. So the store and the for loop are both storing variable names. All right, and it shouldn't affect anything because it's a type alias, so it's not strictly enforcing it. All right, we're just taking a little quick refactoring. Refactor, use name type rather than string for store and for info. The other thing on my mind, we have places where we create new locations. Let's see if we can find those. I think we can add a little helper function. Let's do location with parentheses. Okay, first line number 0. Well, I think that one, let's go up to location. We allow that to default to 0, so we haven't used that everywhere. Let's take the default. This one is you're starting a program, so the first line you always start at the front of the first line. Okay, this is the one I'm thinking of. Location, line number, location dot part. Okay, and this one's another 0. We can take that off. Let's get the zeros first, I guess. Go sub location line number, good. Go to it's too bad location doesn't know about program, so we really do have to get those. Part plus index. Okay. We'll go to, okay, and then so I guess it was this one. I'd like to make, this one's a pure function of location, so I'd like to make a little helper for that. Let's define a location dot next. Actually, I could take this whole thing. And I don't have a good rule myself. maybe one of you does, but when I'm making these returns like this, do I want parentheses or not? So let's do function next. Maybe it's not a function. Maybe it's just a no, I'll make it a function. Yes, yeah, go back and forth. All right. This is self and self. Okay, so the deal is that sometimes you're at a location which is a part of a line. Whoops. Let's see. Returns location. You're at a particular location, some line number, some part, and you want to move to the next step. Okay, basically the normal control flow. You just move to the next step. Let's have this function for that, and let's use it here. Okay, so we're going to use location. Oops. Right. Now, what I was talking about before, Swift does allow us to put getters, computed getters and stuff like that on there. And I don't have a good rule. I mean, in a way, it's I can think of them as if they were, permanent and eternal, and the next, then this is the natural next, and it's existing for all time. Or I can think of it more as a function, like tell me your current location, I'll work out the new one. So yeah, that's what I've done here. All right. It should be a refactoring. It's an extract method kind of thing. A little bit manual. Okay. All right. And then the change I want to make, now we're doing a deeper change. The for info should store the location because that's where it's returning to. And let's change it and see the consequences. There should be some people complaining syntactically. Okay. Body line number is only referenced there. Okay, so let's make this a location. I wonder if programs should know locations. That would be interesting. Okay, so anyway, we take that line number, make a location out of it, defaults to 0 part size, and it's moving on to the next one. Okay, and then this one, sort of the flip side. Okay, body load number. Yeah, this is already a location now, so we don't need to convert it. Okay. Now, unfortunately, this is not enough to make things start working. Let's see. We changed the for stack to hold location rather than line number. All right, and then just for curiosity, it's conceivable to me this one might start passing. Oops. If I turn it into an actual test. It shouldn't have had a diamond. I don't know why it did. Oh, still fails. Okay. 20 is not equal to 1 to 20. So it did not iterate. Okay. We may want those both on. All right. So is this the for loop? Well, here's the for. Okay. There we go. The for. Variable name, initial expression, final expression, step expression. We compute the type. Let's see, type variable. We're going to assign the variable equals the initial. We're going to evaluate the limit, evaluate the step size. Assign the type variable equals type variable minus step size. We can do better than that, I think. But anyway, body could be in the middle of a line. Body line number. Okay. Okay, so this is the place where it says we must go to the next line for the body. And I want to say, well, I would like to say location.next. Let's rename this. Body location. Okay. And what I wonder is if I just say location.next and then I do a go to at some point, well, in our next down here, we pop that thing and we go to the body line number, which again, I'll make body location. Okay. We do a go to. So what happens if you go to a location? Yeah, this is good. Okay. So let's find our main interpreter loop. Okay. There's go to, do go to. Okay. This is it. Yeah. Okay. If next location is nil, no, it's going to be it's going to be a part location. Okay. It's becoming complicated. I feel like there's a better The problem is if you're at the end of the line already and we say go to the next one, then we really want you to go to the following line. But the program knows the lines, the program object knows the lines. Let's find it. It's really a big hash table. It's line number to string. So the line number mapped to the content of the line. And it doesn't know the parts. Okay, so it can't tell you the location within a line because it doesn't. That's only known once you've parsed it. Okay, and the program is really more of this is really more supporting the editing. It gets you the program. It can list them. It can get you anything by line number, but it doesn't know the rest. Okay, and so I think it's on our interpreter. I think if you say go to some part that's out of range on a line, I think you should really go to the next line. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna let's see, go back to the next. Um, do next, I think it was called. Okay. All right, so it digs up that. It's got the body location. All right, now the body location could be the end of a line, and so it's too big. And we want to go to there. Okay. I think maybe go to should be smarter. Let's see. Is that the right place to do this? If you say go to some location and it can't find it, because it's too big. Okay. I mean, what does this apply to everybody though, right? Go sub next location 4. What's this? Oh, that is the thing we were looking for. Okay, let's use that in Go to. Let's do Go to. Go sub next location 4 location. No, that's not quite right, is it? Ugh. Because this actually moves forward. But maybe this is what we need. Maybe this is what we need in our next statement. Maybe that's the right place. Yeah. Okay. Do next. Where's that next? It's in the 4, I guess. Right, this should be next location 4 location. Okay, so it was going to the place after the line number. We're saying it should go to the next one within the line or the next line, depending. And let's make sure our tests will run. There's going to be a problem finding the next, so I don't think this will pass, but I think it's kind of a prerequisite for passing. Yeah, this one found for without next. And let me, sorry. Oh, it did have a space. Okay. Okay. So, oh, this one passed. Good. All right. Is that? I'm surprised it found its next. Okay. So this. Okay, the body location is the next location. We push that on the stack. Find the next with the variable. That's the one I'm worried about. Okay, so we parse the statements. We drop the first part. Oh, okay. So we're dropping. If we have the 4 on the same line, we're dropping for I equals 1 to 2. Because the location is the location of the 4. So we're dropping the front half. Then we're looking for the next statement on the same line, but we're not doing that logic down here. That's the issue. Okay. Index equals first index where? Yeah. Gosh. It's okay, so this routine tells you if there is any. Okay. This part's running through all the statements, or the remaining statements. We parse it. Let's take this to do out. That's what we're doing. Okay. And I think we basically need this. Index equals current statements. Find the first index where the next is there with the variable. And if index does not equal nil, then we'll return that location. Well, it's really current line. Part plus index. Okay. Otherwise, if it's not found, we go to the next line. Right. And then this is redundant now. Okay. Current statements. What's current statements? Is that the parse? Yes. I think that's parse.first index. Okay, because this is the one given the line we're on. Okay. parse.statements. Okay, so the line we're on, get all the statements, run through them, find the first one where the variable next and the expected variable is. If we find it, then we return current line. Could name that better. Current line, line number, current line dot part plus index. So that's the location within there. Current line dot part. I think it's just index. Okay, because the first one we had to add location dot part back in because we dropped them all. But this one we are starting at 0, so I think we're okay like this. Ugh, I hate arguing my way. Okay. Success speaks for itself in a sense. I mean, they are finding it, but let's clean up. Okay, so I think what you're doing is given given a list of statements and an amount to drop. Yeah, given a list of statements, a prefix amount to drop, find the location or nil. All right, so let's try this extract method. He doesn't like it. Okay, let's do it manually. Well, we need the statements. Of type array of statement. We need the let's call this dropping int, and then we want width again, like we do here. With a variable that's a name, it could throw. It returns a location question mark. Okay, so let's take statements. Dot drop first. Dropping, okay. Otherwise return nil. Is that going to work? Okay, make sure we got no extra variables coming in here. Current statements. Yeah, location is not what we want. I guess we're going to need the location as well. Okay, pass the location, pass the statements. How many do you want to drop? What variable? And we will drop those, run through all the statements, see if any of them match a next with the variable. If they do, we find we've got a location. So let's take the location and this dropping plus index. I think this is +1. Okay. So my claim then is this is let next location equal find next in line with location existing statements dropping location dot part and with variable. Okay, so that should cover this stuff. And I think we kind of do this. If next location is not nil, that means we found one. We'll return it. Okay, so we try and find it on the current initial line. Try. Okay. We try and find it on the existing line. Okay. And skipping forward past location.part, 0 plus 1. I want to get this part right. I think we want to make this location.part plus 1. Because we want to pass dropping 0, and then this can be dropping -1 plus index. I don't know. All right, I think this will work for the first part. Okay, so that is that. And then we're running through the remaining lines. And while we've got some, we will parse, and then we'll do this. It's kind of the same thing. The next location for current line, and this is parse.statements, dropping 0 with variable. If next location is not nil, return it. I'm afraid I'm messing up an off. I've got it off by 1 here somewhere. All right, let's see. But I'm subtracting the 1 in this place. Yeah, okay. Right. Something's not quite right. Because if I skip, right, if I skip on the second one, I mean, I want to be dropping 0 on the second case, right? So, um, why is that right? Okay, so let me put an example in. Say we do 20 for I equals 1 to 2. All right, print I next I. All right, that was our basic case. All right, our location is here, 20 0, 20-0 or 20:0. And we say, find the next in the current line location. All right, so when we get in here, the location, I assume the location is the next. I mean the 4. Let's see if that's true. Body location. So we come in here, the location is the 4. All right. And we haven't, body location equals next location 4. Okay. And then we go to next line number, which, okay. What's weird is we're not incrementing location here. And maybe that's not weird. Maybe we don't normally do that. I guess normally we just, if you don't do anything, if you don't do any go-tos, it increments location for you after each statement. So location is the current location. So let's put some junk on the front, print X. Okay, so now we're in line 20:1 here, and location.part is 1, and we want to drop 2 entries. Okay, the first 2 parts. Huh. Okay, so we're in part 1. We want to drop 2 locations. If we're in part 2, we'd want to drop 3. Okay, so this dropping, I mean, location.part plus 1 is correct here. We want to drop 2. Okay, and then if we actually found it, okay, current statements, dropping, we dropped the 2. Okay, so we're at 20:2 at this point. Let index equal the first index where this is true. Well, it's not at 0, and it's not, it's at 1. index is 1, we get a true hit here. Okay, but we don't want to say we're at slot 1. We're really at 1 plus the 2 we dropped. 0, 1. Oh, sorry, 1 plus 2 is 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so that's the right one. Here, I don't think we want this minus 1. Okay, so let's see what we got. 4 next on the same line is not working. Okay. Find next in line. We're hoping it comes back with 20:3. So we start statements dropping the first 2. Index. All right, let's go in on this test. Okay, so location is 10, 0. We'll copy this from the test. Ten, 0. Okay. Dropping 1 to get past the 4. Variable is I. Good. Okay. So let's step over. Okay. Let's print current statements. We should see the print and the next. Let's do it this way. Print current statements dot count 2. Okay, print current statements of 0. Really? Index out of bounds. That doesn't seem excuse me, that doesn't seem quite right. Yeah, I know you're a subsequence. No, that one's not better. Two elements, 0 print I and next I. I don't know why it's got 2. Oh, element I, variable in its type. Okay. Well, that makes it look like current statements looks right. Okay, so let's step over this. Okay, and index is 2. Index 2. Now I'm confused. Current statements, first index where? I would have thought that should be, its current statement starts here, it should be 1. How is that not a 1? Am I not stepping over the thing I think I am? Let's... What if I do that? Oh, I'm running too much. Build failed. Okay. Now index is 1. Line 10, part 2. 0, 1, 2. Okay, that seems correct. Let's continue. No failure. Wow. So, okay, what happened? Apparently, because this originally this was a sub array or a slice, it was retaining the index of the actual thing. So maybe. All right, let's make sure this other test passes. Okay, ram all. Good. Okay, let's capture what we got here. So, make for loop find next statement anywhere in line. Okay. Now I'm gonna try. I'm gonna go back to this. It looked like the index doesn't need the dropping, is what I'm taking away from that. Let's see how that goes. Right. Okay. Yeah, this is one of those things. These slices, boy. Okay, I didn't realize it would do that. So it retains the indexes. It knows when it's got the subarray, the true index is there. But now that makes me wonder. Can I mess it up? Well, I'm dropping statements. If the next occurred beforehand, it would be complaining already. So it must not be there. I guess when I do the drop first, it's only going to iterate through those indexes. I mean, it's going to skip. It is going to skip over the stuff we said skip over, but it still knows its index. Okay. Let's see what we're looking like now. Okay, so that, I don't know. Can I fit this all in one line? Is that better? See statements. No, let's make this inline this. Okay, so first we're going to try and find it in the partial line. If we can't, we're going to run through the remaining lines. find it if we can, and if we don't find it in the remaining lines, well, we skip to the next line. If we don't find it anywhere, then we got a for without a next. Okay. Next. And is there a space there? It's so hard to tell. Yes, there is. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This checking for next nil is a little awkward, but it might not be in there. All right, and then, sorry, let's go down to do next. We definitely get a location. Okay, remove last off the for loop. All right, let's. Okay, so we're still doing. I think that's basically what we did. Okay, and then I think I saw do for body location, next line number is a location. Okay, so we find the location of the next and we jump there. The other one that was on my mind, let's see, this is a rename. The other one on my mind, this assignment's a little awkward. Like, why do we assign the initial value? I don't think we need to. Let's compute it. Yeah, let's compute it. So initial try to evaluate initial with globals. Okay, this can move down. We don't need the assignment. Okay, so I'm changing the way it evaluates a little bit. Let's evaluate the initial, the final, and the step. And then in here, instead of minus top variable, let's use minus initial value. Should be okay. S float. S float. Okay. Oh, it needs a number. Oh, wait a minute. Initial value is a value. Up to takes expressions, which are numbers. Okay, I guess I do have to do this. Dot number. make them all explicit. Okay. All right, so evaluate the initial, evaluate the limit, the step size, create a variable for the for loop, and assign it to initial value minus step size. Okay, should be neutral. Hey, Astrid, how are you? And me wondering. Sorry, I missed both of you coming in. All right, so I think we're doing wrap up on the for loop. We did the work to figure out like where's the next statement. Originally we could do it by line because we just had full line numbers. Now we've added in these partial lines with colons to separate them like these. And we've got our for loops so they know to go down to the partial line and they can find the next statement in the partial line. But I think as far as I know, we're done with those at this point. We got to make sure this last little bit worked. Okay. Let's rearrange how first step of for loop is handled. Okay, so I think we're basically done with these for loops now. What I want to do is let's see, for statement returning to middle of line. Yeah, that's what we've done. That's BI-22-30, June 20th. Oh, June's almost over. And find next statement anywhere in line. Okay, I don't think we need that. All right. Okay, so I guess what are we on? Well, this has been biting me for a while. And I don't know why I keep putting it off, but the way it works now is the program runs and it accumulates all the output, and then at the end it shows it to you. And that's fine, I guess, but it's not very interactive. And we don't have a, oh, hey, cool. Oh, good. When's that start for you? I remember seeing a tweet. I think that you had one, but I don't remember where you were going. Let's see. Anyway, I would like it to be more interactive. That whenever it does something, it prints immediately, and you can see it as the person running the program. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to write big numeric, run for an hour things, but you do want to see what's going on. And if you had an infinite loop or something like that, you'd kind of like to know, like, hey, nothing's happening, nothing's printing, okay. But and the other consequence of that is that we have this output. Let's see if I can get back to the top loop here. Oh, good. Oh, so you got a little time off here. Probably won't feel like it if you're trying to get everything set for the next job. But anyway, in the loop here, you can see output equals try step of parse of output. So the way we're doing it's almost like a functional program, right? In the sense that each thing is each step is a function of the previous, or each output is a function of the previous output. So take all the output I had so far and, add on anything I want to add. Okay. So you see stuff like this, return output plus that. Well, I'd rather just write it and not worry about it. But the part of the problem is, I've got the REPL, and so that's read eval print loop. Basically it's the it's the command line for this thing, and I haven't gotten more sophisticated than the original kind of basic command lines, which is pretty brutal. Yeah, we can't do console-based debugging if we don't have output. um, yeah, so I mean, and you want that. I mean, that's a normal thing to want. If we get later basics had an input statement. We haven't done the read and data ones yet, but the original basic was not really interactive. You could change your data statements and change the values it was running on, but there was no input like, what's the next thing? Yeah, so output is observable. That's the funny thing, I think. Let's see. Um, the REPL is observable. So I think maybe I'm not doing that right. Um, let's see where this shows up. Content view. Well, let's just run it. We haven't done this for a while. Okay, so 10 print 10. Okay, and if I run this, okay, it runs and it prints 10. Okay, that's good. But yeah, let's see what's going on. The button here somewhere. Okay, well, the text field. Okay, it calls REPL.execute on command. So I type run, it executes the run command. Where'd I get REPL? I think I just wrote it over. Yeah, I'll get it closer. Okay, content view. Execute. Okay, if command is run, do run. And okay, interpreter, run the interpreter, which gets some output. Let's call it output. Okay, and appends it. Yeah, I think maybe we've got observable. I mean, we call interpreter.run. Oh, and it's producing the output here. Okay. So, well, I think one thing would be to pass in the place we want to write the output. And then let run do it. That would be a step. The funny thing is, like, what's going on here? This output gets changed. I don't know. Is it REPL doing it? I mean, REPL is the observed object. So when it changes, this is where I'm not quite. It's like I work this through, figure it out, and then it leaves my head and I can't remember. Yeah, I think yeah, output should be its own observable. I think I can do that with this though, right? Isn't there's a modifier for it? Ugh, let's go back. It's not really recent. Dungeons and Battles. I almost want to be back to the sort table stuff from like last year. Ugh. I know I worked this through then. Maybe it's this. Let's see. I know I had to go back to basics more than once. Observed object. Dependency on a reference type that conforms to observable. Yeah, so I'm not clear if my REPL, if everything is observable already, is what I'm wondering. Okay, so I think I don't know. I'm puzzled because if I pass the string, maybe you're right. Maybe that has to be its own observable. I'd kind of hoped wrapping it in the REPL would making the REPL observable would cover me, but let me pass output to the observable, to the run rather. Okay. And what I really kind of want, I almost want a stream, right? Do I have to say stream of stream? I don't know. It's like, I don't, it is a string, but I don't want to care. I just want to append stuff to the end of it and be done with it. I don't really know the Swift way here. If maybe I'm flipped backwards. Maybe content view. So yeah, let's make. Well, I do observe the REPL in. I mean, it's sort of implicit, is why I'm a little puzzled. But it's observed. So whenever it changes that output, I'm not doing anything over here to do the work. It's detecting that the REPL changed, and it should show that new string. So I'm going to try this and pass it into the REPL if that's allowed. Okay. Passing output. And I don't know if I can do this way. REPL. Content view state. REPL output. Cannot use instant member. Okay, let me come back. State variable owned by the view must be initialized, binding depending on another view. Observed object, dependency on a reference type conforming to observable object. Okay, so that's what REPL is to me. I know this wasn't the only time I had to look at this, but I think I'm repeating the slide. And maybe I have to go in the code. Yeah, you can tell how many times I referred back to this. All right, let's see if we can still open that code. Oh, quite know where it is. Oh, maybe it's still there. Strings immutable replaced, no change in the string. Yeah, I mean it's I mean in Swift they're definitely managing their strings that kind of way, so it's a little tricky to get. I'm finding it tricky, I should say, to get references to things so I can you know, manipulate them. And yeah, so I don't know. Let's see. I think I recall we were using the old style and then switched to Swift UI for some stuff. So I don't want to look at the storyboard stuff. Um, this may not be the best example. I don't think we're using any of the at stuff. Yeah, no, it's SQL view. Maybe this one is UI. Okay, here we go. Something like this. Okay, so we create a view. We got the database view model. Observable. Publish to our message. Publish, that's the word I'm looking for. Okay. Yeah, let's take this out. I think this needs to be marked published for output. Okay. REPL output is bound to the view. I think of it, is it maybe the other way around? I mean, the view is referring to REPL as being observable, and then the output is published, and it says it should keep track of it. But it seemed to already, so maybe I'm, that's why it's just not, I don't know. The model isn't quite clicking. I mean, it should be an observer kind of thing. I do feel like if I had passed the string in, I think it's more like what you said with Java. I'm passing this immutable thing back, and if I return it, I'm returning something else, and I don't know. Is that gonna do it? All right, let's run this. Make sure that doesn't blow up anything here. Yeah. Okay, so 10 print 10 run. I think it takes care of shift. Okay. This output is showing up still. I mean, that's good, but it doesn't seem to have changed anything. But I think maybe now I think maybe I get to treat it as a reference. I just have to do nothing but UI stuff for 6 months and get it locked in my head because it's just okay. So let's try this. We'll pass output into do run. Sorry, do run doesn't need it. Interpreter run needs it. Okay, so we'll pass output. And let's jump there. Oh, of course you don't. All right. Interpreter run takes output. Take that out. Okay. So Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe that would be the way to go. Yeah, you're right. Let's do that. And I'm just going to do it in here. Interpreter.run2 with output append. I shouldn't have to append. Okay. So if I type, okay. Let constant. This is where I wanted to treat it like a stream. I just want to append to it. Sorry, I don't have a window yet. All right. Swift. Hi, welcome. You get to come watch me stumble around. Well, I'm kind of willing to do it right in place, but you know, I hear you. All right, and I will. Do I care what this thing holds? I don't know that I do. Okay, this is sort of like what we had. We had the REPL, we had the string in there. Okay, conforms to observable object. Is presented marked with published. Okay. Publishers when the boundaries know when to re-render. Yeah, so I'm a little puzzled in our code why it apparently does re-render. I mean, when I changed the REPL in this command, it put it in the, it adjusted it here. So that what that leaves me confused about is saying it's an observable object. Is that like what's this doing beyond that? King updates. Okay, yes, that's the kind of thing I want to do. It's observed, yes. These are working within the views. That's not quite what I'm after. Okay, so we got an observable object. We publish a field. I'm not quite sure why they needed all this. And then we observed object uses it, yes. Okay. Yeah, I may revert this and move on. I don't know. I feel bad having you just watch me go through documentation, stumble around. It's real life, but okay. Passing a variable to observable object. Maybe that's interesting. I think this is where we were. State object. Well, I think the one the thing that would show it changing, like if you said 10 print X, 20 go to 10. So you set up this infinite loop. The way we are now, you would definitely just sit there with no output, okay? Because it's not going to give you any output until it finishes running. And if it never finishes running, then no output. So the behavior I'd like would be I would see print, 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 print. You know, I'd see those lines being printed. And then, you know, at some point I would stop it somehow. But I would see that the printing was going on. Whereas when it gathers all the output until the final end statement, then I can't see that. So that behavior would be a change. What's confusing me, I guess I keep going around back to that. Like I've got that output here. I want to, well, what I want to do is pass a reference to it, and maybe I'm messed up from that, but you know, because strings are not really quite reference objects, that's kind of a problem. But in effect, I want to pass a reference to this output, and then call append on it. Okay, and whenever it appends, that is the result. Uh, I I ran it. I tested it manually after that. Um, so I can put it back. Let's let's take out this. Okay, so sorry. um, all right, I believe this is where we were. Let me run that. Okay, so if I do 10 print, I think I got string prints maybe. Hello. Run. Okay. Yeah. So it doesn't mind it being marked. Whoops, REPL. It doesn't mind. I mean, the only difference I know is I added this published marker. Okay, so let's make sure. Yeah, that goes away. Content view, blank line. Okay, and REPL. Yeah, so what was just var output is now published var output. Um, and I mean, so the content view, like, I'm not quite sure. Like, I'm not quite sure how it works. Hmm. I mean, REPL executing command should mark it changed, I guess, and then it knows to update the scroll view and digs out the output, and it's fine. Um, Published. And when you say app published, you put in some mechanisms, and like people can monitor that field particularly, which is good. I mean, it's okay. But what I find hard is passing it along. I mean, these things that want to be like my UI objects, like output, and now I kind of want to pass something in. Binding a view to the REPL and not its var content. Yeah, that's the place I'm not quite sure. I mean, the fact is, when I executed it, it did update. So um, when it first runs, it just says hello because REPL.output is hello. Executing this command, um, it, the command puts more output on REPL.output, and this scroll view redraws it. So in that sense, it seems like it's binding to the content, or it's detecting the content changed on the REPL object. Um, but yeah, it seems like publish should make a difference. I mean, I wonder if if I pass the REPL, then I've got something that it's more of it's a true object, right? So I can pass a reference to it, whereas the strings are immutable kinds of objects, and so the reference to them, they act as if copied. I don't think it normally does bother copying it. It optimizes it, but so I'm just not sure. Um, I mean, if I I don't know. I'm going to put a little toy class in or something and see it. Yeah. If I did something to pass it in, is it updated? No. Unfortunately, it's not because the the current REPL, when it calls do run, it gets the output from interpreter.run, and interpreter.run doesn't it doesn't return the output until the very end. So all your stuff your program does, it could print 100 things. All it does is build up a giant output string and then return it at the end, which I know I don't want, but um, but that's what it's doing. So, I mean, what I would really like is I would like to say output is a stream, and you call stream.append. Now, um, that that isn't quite what's going on, I guess. I mean, you can kind of treat strings as streams, but I don't know if you can append to them that way. Um, what I wonder is if I have REPL as a true object wrapped around that output. Um, whether that's the ideal, I don't know that I would say it is, but the the thing I would want to try is if suppose I pass the REPL along, and then my interpreter is allowed to say REPL dot append output. I don't know if there's anything like that now. I don't see it. Oh, there is. Okay. Yeah, if I pass the REPL and did that, would it work? Let REPL.content equals. I'm not following you on that one. Are you saying the interpreter should just assign that instead of returning it? Okay, so I'm going to make my experiment. I'm going to put this back, and instead of an output, I'm going to take a REPL. It may be that REPL is too big an object, and I should only wrap up my string in there, but let me try it this way. Okay, so REPL do run, close that, and I'm just going to say try interpreter.run with self. Run 2. And I guess I don't need to try. Okay, so run 2 takes a REPL, cannot find output in scope. Okay. Sorry, when you say POC, are you saying proof of concept or are you saying something different? Okay, that appends it for sure. So, well, it appends it and redisplays it, with it there, which is good. Let's try that again. This should keep appending. Yeah. All right. So it's hard to get these things hooked up right. I mean, one thing I could do would be wrap this string in a new. Okay. Wrap the string in a new class, observable class, but all it does is manage the string so I can append to it, and marked publish so the display can see it. But the challenge then is, how do I get that to the REPL? Do I get it to the REPL? Well, somehow it should get to the interpreter. It should, yeah, somehow we have to get that to the interpreter. Okay. Now this is where I'm not as sure. Because when I created a field and tried to pass it in, maybe okay, let's make a new class. Class output observable. But how would I get it from this? Well, I certainly want to have an output. And okay. Execute command. Do I want to pass it there? I don't, even if this is not observed, I don't think it lets me connect them like this, which is really unfortunate, because at least the way I think about connecting these objects up, I want to set up some independent views and then do something that ties them all together. And this does not like that. Okay, so let me add an int. Okay, I think it's going to complain in here about this. Build. Yeah, cannot use instance member output within property initializer. They run before self is available. Now, I don't know if I can make an init. that be legal? Is this allowed? Okay, so yeah. Defer says wait until the very end. It's kind of saying after everything's initialized, but then my REPL doesn't get initialized and it gets all panicked about that. So I can't do it in the initializer. Okay, so I guess I will accept that for now. There may be some pattern that people have, but okay. What I can say is REPL execute. Okay, migrating it back. Missing argument. Okay, let's do a build. Okay, I don't think I have to worry about that. All right, so execute. I guess what I'm thinking is, I don't want to keep going there. Maybe I'm going to put these here. Like when I call execute, can I pass the output to execute and let it pass it on? I think so. So execute. I'm going to make take an outputter. Okay. Let me pass it along here. Run to REPL. I want to take the output instead. Okay, now REPL takes this output object, executes it. Where's execute? Okay, execute, at least on the command run, takes the output, do run, takes it and passes it to the interpreter. Okay, we won't worry about that missing catch, that's fine. All right, now the interpreter run to takes the output and appends it. Okay, and then finally I need to, instead of REPL.output, I'm just going to display output. Okay, and I don't know, Output conform to string protocol. Okay. Okay, that's a lot of work. um, extended grapheme. Okay. I don't know. Oh, where's my output? Let's try output.output. Okay. Now these tests I don't care about. I don't think it'll let me run with them failing, but failing to compile. Let's take this off. Can I run? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I have less trouble in the view because I don't know. Everything seems hooked up right, but okay. Okay. Let me just tag that to save for later too. um, okay, so observed audit person store. We run through them, show each one. Yeah. Okay. Um. I really wish I could just create that thing once and be done with it. All right. I think what's going on, I mean, currently I'm displaying output.output, so it's coming from that external object thing I made. I say run, run, run. It's updating as it executes the command, and it appears to be going to output.output because that's growing. I think this is working. Okay, so I'm gonna move forward with this. Okay, so let me forgive my fingers this. Let's revert this. Discard changes. Okay, so I'm going to try and do this again. All right. So I'm setting up an output class, and I'll straighten out the files a little later. It's, I'm in effect extracting a sub class from REPL, or I'm extracting the output object from REPL and the function that works on it, basically. Now, the thought was here. Okay, this becomes an observed object. Okay, and I'm going to start showing output.output. Okay, I'm going to require that execute command, like somehow I have to get this output to the REPL, because the REPL holds the interpreter. I mean, that's kind of its job, one of its jobs. Maybe it's not a good job, I don't know. But when you execute a command, I would like to say you're going to know where that output goes. I really wish I could just hold an output and initialize it when I initialize the REPL, but our experiments there didn't seem promising. But I do think we're no longer need to observe it. Okay, that it's not a state. It's more being held as an object we can execute on, but it's not going to own the output side. It's trusting output to have that. And same with the command. It doesn't own the command. The text field binds to it, but it just passes it in. So I'm going to pass the command and the output. And this is the change. Okay, that's going to create some issues. Okay, so if execute wants an output, can I give this thing? The thing is, I can't initialize it. Sorry, here. I can't pass it in here because the way this initializes. See that? Okay. So I can pass it in as a runtime dependency through the method. Okay, but now I've got all these people out there that call execute without a command. All right, let's address them. Check program results is probably one of them. Interpreter.run. Okay, I want that to take an output as well. Okay, so I'm going to bubble this down. Sorry, interpreter program. REPL. Maybe I can give it to output here. All right, what will be the consequence there? I guess it would just have to know the output object, which I don't mind that. Let's try that. Okay, and it needs to hold it. And then it needs to do something with it. Okay, so at runtime, when you create the interpreter, you're going to give it the program and the output stream. That sounds good. Okay, now there's going to be people that don't like that. Okay. Tests, all right. Yeah, but what about this? Yeah, input, output. Give this the output. Execute. To run. Output of output. And then to run needs the output. And let's just change this name while we're old output. I lost my lost my chat stream. Whoops. Really lost it. The add state, no, I don't think so. Astrid, sorry, back a ways. Well, Commodore, you're going to be, you know, do you trust your silicon until you've mined your own sand? I don't know. I'm enjoying writing a compiler, but, you know, I'm relying on Swift to do it, and clearly that's got its own challenges for me. Okay, REPL .swift missing argument. I think that is wrong. Okay. We got some tests. I think I can do this. Let output equals output. Okay, pass this along. Output. And then output dot output contains that. Type output. Oh shoot, rename the old wrong thing. So I think the different state is like tied to the view is my understanding. So in the content view, this state here is managed and owned by the content view, and it's used somewhere here. Command, yeah. So we accept it as, you know, we use the binding to grab the field contents or update the field contents, and then use the text itself to do the command. But when I create my own object with its own stuff, then it's got to be observed object. It's, to me, it's conceptually very similar, but it's just a difference they have. So these more kind of reference objects. Well, I mean, you can do it all virtually for Commodore. Go back and, you know, build your CPU and see how that goes. You'll learn a lot. I mean, there's nothing against learning it. Okay, so I think that's okay. Where's my REPL? I want to change the output there. This one, I want old output. Because I don't think I'm using it at this point. Okay. Right. So these... Do I have to do this all the time? It's this... Oh, this is the REPL test. Okay, fair enough. The REPL... Okay, it does not hold output other than for execute. So, all right, let's fix these REPL tests to work with this now. It's slightly harder than I want to do, but it's got to have an output somewhere. True output contains 10. What? Let me see. Okay. REPL contains 10. Oh, that's the line number? I think REPL does do that. Yeah, contains. Okay, so... This is still REPL contains... Just adding these outputs in the methods. Okay, execute needs the output. And this is this kind of changing dependency. Yeah, that's a clever thing, Nanta Tetris. Okay. Okay, and then I think these old output assertions, they are not going to be helpful. Okay. So let's look at output.output. REPL.swift. Missing argument for parameter number 2. Insert comma output. Where's interpreter? Yeah, I think Astrid's probably right there about what's easier to start learning. Output interpreter. Okay. I'm going to run tests. And I feel like I'm not catching something somewhere because the output. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm going to create an output. I'm going to run the interpreter with that output. Um, yeah, somehow I'm going to have to catch the real output and get it into the outputter somehow. Yeah, in a way, I think you're wrong about not being able to do it without knowing the fundamental origins, because what we're trying to do in a lot of places is put these levels of abstraction in, and so they say, if you you've set, here's what this thing beneath me is going to do, and then if you can trust that, then you can add the next layer on top. And most programs are written that way. Most everything you do is written that way. You you well, lots of people um, have put a lot of work in for you to say I'm going to catch up and do it all. And I can't start programming until I can. That sounds like a reason to just not do it. But sometimes you got to go beyond your feelings and try something and see what happens. Okay, I fear I don't know, what have I got? 10, 15 places. I don't think it's wrong to make the interpreter know the outputter. Um, but some of this is not feeling good. Now this, I think we've got methods for this. Program interpreter program output equals. Yeah, this should be a check program results. Now this one, it needs it. We're playing games with the evaluate. Okay, we've got this outputter added on. The interpreter is going to take a program and an outputter, so that's kind of a major change. REPL tests aren't quite happy. Okay, let's see what's going on. Assert true failed. Thank you so much. Let's stop here and see what we're getting. Oh, no, we know the answer. It's execute calls to run. I think for now we're gonna have to do this. Assert true failed. Okay. Let's break here. Run this. Build failed. That's different. How about is a let constant? Okay. Oh. All right, let's see what the REPL has. Hello 10 print in. Okay, new line. Output. I don't know if I can get to it. Hello. Execute. Oh. Um. Okay, I think what's going on. Let me get these over here. So I think what we originally had, let's see, show change. Yeah, the output contains 10 print. I think the REPL is not basically do line number. Okay. We append command. I guess we're going to have to append these things all to the output as well. And we're just kind of moving stuff from the REPL to the output. Okay. And I think, well, actually, let me do this a different way. Let me do it down there. No, let's keep it here. Okay, I guess, yeah, what we're going to have to do is manage output. as well as the old. Okay, so var output of output. I think this is the way to go. Let's assign this. And then we'll make append right to both. So doing it in parallel, basically. Okay. Run those tests again. Take that out. Okay, just one messed up. Hello, 10 print 42, run 42. We got an extra print. Okay. It's probably interpreter. Okay. All right. I'm still returning the output, so I'm trying not to make that any different. Where's the... Okay, let's see this test. We execute 10 print 42. Maybe do run. Did I put an extra append in there? I did. Okay. Goodness. Okay, all our tests are back to green. That's the good news. It's still a clunky. We're still using the mechanism we started with. The interpreter, it sets up the output stream, but when it runs, all it does is build up output and return it. Okay, so all this was kind of a refactoring to prepare for that. So I think that's what we'll do next time is we'll shift this output rather than we're returning it, we're going to append it to the output stream as we go. And I think at that point we'll have decoupled them and we can get rid of anybody that depends on these result strings. Okay. It's just not the way we're going to do it. So we'll pick up there next time and do that. Thanks, Astrid, for the the ideas on the view and binding stuff. I think, I don't know. I just have to buckle down and figure this out more deeply. I know when I did the sort tables thing, and I had expected like chains of objects that contained bindings to kind of automatically update through the levels, and they don't really work that way. You had to put your own mechanisms in for it. But I think this is okay. We're getting the output from the system on that output object, and wrapping it in a new object lets us treat it as a reference and not a copy. So we got rid of the copy aspect of things. So yeah, Commodore 256. Good luck. It sounds like you're setting yourself up for a long path, and I think there are shorter paths. But otherwise, we'll pick up there tomorrow. I think we'll get this output stuff, all these return outputs. They're going to go away. That just return their own output. The print will need one, but otherwise, I think for the most part, um, there won't be very many places. Yeah. Yeah, there's something. I mean, it's like the binding stuff's brilliant in its own way, but getting it all straightened out and right and everything, and I think mixing it with the so many objects being structs in Swift where they get copied instead of referenced and modified. It's like you have to put an extra layer in or something sometimes. But I don't I don't know. There's things I understand deeply all the way down, and this stuff is not one of them. I've got one of Paul Hudson's books, and I'm going to work my way through that, and hopefully at some point it all just kind of clicks together how they're intending all of this to work. But yeah, I muddle through otherwise. But I think we're headed in a good direction. At least all this overhead of return output is going to go away, so that's a good thing. I wish I'd done it a lot sooner. All right. Tomorrow it's the same time, 9 a.m. 10 a.m. Eastern time to 12:30 p.m. or 3 to 5:30 p.m. UTC, and other time zones as appropriate. And let's see, I'm out Wednesday this week. I've got a doctor appointment, so hopefully we'll finish this part of things up tomorrow. And I think maybe move on to some more statements. I've got some example programs, and I do want to bring those in and see what's missing, if we can run those yet. We're getting close, but not quite there. So maybe later this week, though. That's my hope. Anyway, thanks. I will catch you in the future, and have a good evening or day. Bye bye.